Bills go 3-0 the next 3 games. They might be your Super Bowl favorite.
Buffalo Bills have just stepped into Murderer's Row.
Murderer's Row right there, but this is where you're going to find out about your team with their schedule going forward. If they get in, they're going to be dangerous.
And just like Tony Romo said, if the Bills win their next 3 games, we could potentially go from everyone thinking that the Buffalo Bills season in 2023 was lost to being a Super Bowl favorite. The next 3 games include the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the Dallas Cowboys. And this murderous row continues really with the LA Chargers as well as the last week of the season against the Miami Dolphins. We all saw it last night, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Kansas City almost beat Philadelphia, but a couple drop passes there. Philadelphia in Kansas City too. I mean, that's no slouch of a task for Jalen Hurst. All the weapons there. I know DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, and the tush push. I mean, there's just so many weapons in Philadelphia. But we have to keep in mind, right, Linval Joseph, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles last year in the Super Bowl, maybe could present some intel to the Buffalo Bills for this upcoming week. And the fact that Philadelphia just played on Monday night, so it's technically a short week for the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Buffalo Bills, who will have an extra day of rest and also practice with new offensive coordinator Joe Brady. And another comment during the game is that Tony Romo says when you switch offensive coordinators, there's not a lot of data on those guys. You know, there's not a lot of reoccurring things that teams could really go against. Like, there's no data there to really determine how Joe Brady is going to be calling games. Are we going to run it more? Are we going to pass it more? Clearly, against the Jets, we were a very balanced offense between run and pass. Will that trend continue? Also, in my previous video, the motion madness mayhem from Joe Brady, motioning Diggs, motioning every single player on this team, including offensive linemen. I think that could very well continue, but the fact is, Philadelphia Eagles really don't know what to expect. And I know this game is away in Philadelphia, but this is where Sean McDermott grew up and also spent a large portion of his coaching career. And I think he's familiar with that stadium. He's familiar with what their fans are going to present. And I think Sean McDermott could definitely help out our players get ready for this upcoming week. And Jalen Hurst really isn't the tallest quarterback in the league, right? We got guys like Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd at 6'6", absolutely huge. AJ Epinesa too. We have some tall, big boys up there, Jordan Phillips, and as well as Linval Joseph going against his former team. And Von Miller preaching about banning turf. Well, I think this is really the first game for Von Miller coming back off his injury to play on grass. And maybe Von Miller is going to be a little bit more comfortable playing on grass after he's specifically said countless times that we got to get rid of turf. So this murderous row really isn't too murderous after all, especially knowing that we're getting the Eagles on a short week, and we also get to play the Kansas City Chiefs coming off our bye. We get an extra day against the Philadelphia Eagles, but basically an entire week of preparation to go against the Kansas City Chiefs to rest up, to heal up, to get ready for this game, and we are very familiar with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Spagano, their defensive coordinator. Sean McDermott and Spagano have a great relationship. Like, we understand what they're going to be all about. And really, the surprise thing with the Kansas City Chiefs is that it's really their defense being a top 5 defense in the NFL this year. Patrick Mahomes and this offense losing to the Denver Broncos, similar to us, they really haven't been putting up a lot of points themselves. So I think the Bills have one of their best shots at beating Kansas City here. And I know it is in Kansas City, but another grass field for maybe Von Miller to go off again. And James Cook is a top 6 running back in total rushing yards. And really, under Ken Dorsey, we were only rushing the ball the 20th most in the NFL. We did see a massive change versus the New York Jets, and we could very well see that trend continue going against the Kansas City Chiefs when we know Spagano, he likes to come up with different blitz packages and be very aggressive. So one recipe to win on the road is that you have to run the football. Losing Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, Trey White, the Buffalo Bills were in this transitional period, but we supplemented those losses with Rasul Douglas, Linval Joseph. We got Dorian Williams, who's no longer really a rookie anymore. Also, Terrell Bernard getting his first NFL start at middle linebacker week 1 this season. He continues to progress as well. What I'm saying is the Bills could really start relying on our defense more so than what we have in previous weeks. Like, we've transitioned to this defense. We proved that we could stop teams defensively. So Josh Allen doesn't need to take as many chances, thus turning the ball over. And all these huge amount of turnover differentials in games. I mean, when we are -3 turnover differential, teams lose 90.7% of the time. Now, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott are going to have to come to Buffalo. I think that's a huge advantage for the Buffalo Bills. A dome team, right? Coming to Buffalo this late in the year. There could very well be snow on the ground at this point. Yes, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, this high potent offense here. They are doing some big time things. They lose Trayvon Diggs, but they still have Micah Parsons and a lot of talent on defense as well. But I like the fact that Dallas has to come to Buffalo this late in the year. We've proved that we could stop elite pass rushers, especially when they only have one top pass rusher on that defensive line, like Micah Parsons. We could contribute 2 blockers to Micah Parsons all game long. Trayvon Diggs being out is a huge loss for them. Stephon Diggs potentially going against Trayvon Diggs. I would say that'd probably be an advantage for Trayvon Diggs, but he's not there. And I think Diggs could definitely pop off against his brother's team. Now, the Bills do have to travel all the way to San Diego, but late in the year, maybe it's a good thing that the Bills are going to be playing in some decent weather in San Diego. Yes, it's a disadvantage to travel from East Coast to West Coast. But Josh Allen is from the West Coast. I think he's used to traveling across to the West Coast without a doubt. Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, they still have a lot of talent on that offense. But really, defensively, they just lost Boza for the season, and I think that's a big-time loss for them. Obviously, another top-tier pass rusher is going to be out versus the Buffalo Bills in this game. Even this week, Justin Herbert hit Keenan Allen right between the numbers for almost a touchdown, but Keenan Allen just dropped it. So they're just not playing their best football at this point, and I think the Bills could definitely expose the Chargers in LA. Following week is almost like another bye week for the Bills, going against the New England Patriots at home, and we don't even know who's going to be their starting quarterback. Is it going to be Mac Jones? Is it going to be Bailey Zappi? We really don't even know, but proof is the New England Patriots have just not had the season that anyone expected here. Bill Belichick, it always brings that voodoo. Yeah, obviously we lost to him already this season, but this game is at home. I really think the Bills should come out, dominate the New England Patriots, who, and the players, are probably going to be hoping for an early round pick next year. I would say at this point, when the Bills play the Patriots, their playoff hopes are going to be down to 0. And we finally end the murderous row here with the Miami Dolphins being away in Miami. Now, Miami has done very well in their home stadium, winning a lot of games in a row at home, but I think the Buffalo Bills could definitely ball out of control this game. They still have yet to beat a team with a record above 500 dating back to 2021. So, yes, this game is to be announced, but there are some matters here. Tua, also a shorter quarterback like Jalen Hurts, has typically struggled against the Buffalo Bills defense. Tyreek Hill hurting his hand last week. Devon Chain also getting nicked up, hurting his knee. Each team, everyone is kind of walking wounded this late in the year. Also, being away in Miami at this point, we're not going to deal with the extreme heat. Could very well get out of the snow here, which could help this Buffalo Bills offense put up some extra points against Miami. And we all know Bills Mafia travels so well to Miami. A lot of our fans live in Miami. A lot of people go there as snowbirds. So we do a great job at filling up that stadium with their own crowd with that red, white, and blue. Miami, yes, it is a home game, but they're definitely going to be hearing a lot of Bills Mafia in those stands. So do you agree with Tony Romo that if the Bills win the next 3 games in a row, that we could literally go to being a Super Bowl favorite? Man, this murderous row is definitely going to be tough going against these opponents, but you consider all these things, that we're getting the Eagles on a short week. We have an extra day, and then we go against the Kansas City Chiefs. We basically have an entire week, and then the Dallas Cowboys have to come to Buffalo Buffalo in the cold. I mean, they're going to be shivering cold. And then LA Chargers, Josh Allen is from there. I think he's going to be used to traveling to the West Coast without a doubt. And they really just lost Boza. That's a huge loss. And also Dallas without Trayvon Diggs. The Patriots are just kind of folding on this season. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe they do tank to get a high draft pick, and then we cap it off with the Miami Dolphins, who we already beat this year. And remember, Miami has yet to play the Jets, and we see how chippy it got versus the Jets and the Bills. Not to hope for injuries, but some injuries could very well happen in either of those games for either of those teams, which could help the Bills going against Miami this final week. I appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit like, subscribe for future content. You guys are all awesome, and I truly believe the Bills will survive this murderous row. Appreciate you, and go Bills.